views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are those of the host/guest and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any of BXR entities and those they represent.
It's Friday night. Thank you. It's I'm bloopers here. Bloopers, rookie mistakes. Good evening. It's Friday night. It's the last weekend before Thanksgiving. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, keep my co-host Marie Starr in your thoughts and prayers while she and her family go through the trials and tribulations of life. Keep my special guest co-host in your thoughts and your prayers as she makes her travels from Atlanta back to Baltimore. She's currently on the highway right now. She just called me about 45 minutes ago or so to touch base with me. We don't know if she's going to join us at some point tonight or not. But if not, it's just me, Skylyne Mark, your host, and our special guest, celebrity. Yeah, the one, give it up, the only, Chardelle Moore. Why can I not hear? I can't hear.
Can you hear me now?
There we are.
You are starting it off Dominican style. Chardelle. I think you're the person who called me that on air. How are you, my brother?
I'm blessed. I can't complain. Don't nobody want to hear, so why do it?
I'm telling you. How's your feeling? How's your soul? How's your soul feeling?
Tired.
Yeah.
Doing too much. But not enough. Putting up with way too much and not saying nothing, but that's getting ready to come to a screeching halt because I'm doing a internal investigation within myself and a situation that just came to light a couple days ago. So to be continued. I got a lot of paper trail that I gotta look through and get some answers to before I go to the individual that I need to go to and be like, here's my paper trail. What the hell is going on? So I would love so much to elaborate on this, but I don't know who's watching and who's listening and who's gonna run back and tell their side and their version. You know how he said, she said shit goes. So, but to be continued. I'm gonna take about a week or two and go through my paperwork and see what kind of devilish things I can pull out the water and get some answers to.
That's deep.
It's about to get real and it's about to get interesting. What better way to do it than the end of the year?
One wisdom I would give you is no matter what, learn to vibrate higher. So it's like the journey of life. Nobody's exempt from the human experience. We're all going to go through things that test us. It's part of it. And the crazy thing is when we're facing these tests, we have a choice on how to respond. And the deeper message is that even through the hardest battles, there's still a piece of wisdom to be learned and to be gained. Right. So we have to realize, like, how am I going to move with this? But when you move in a higher alignment and you say, you know what, God, let's do this. You guide me. I'm going to be good. No matter what you go through, you're going to have that protection.
Right. Yeah. So,
yes.
Where do you want to start, Queen?
You tell me.
Okay. Before we get started, tell my audience a little bit about Chardelle Moore.
Okay, guys. So my name is Chardelle or Chardelle Moore. I am the CEO and founder of Motivational More, a multimedia and communications company aimed to elevate the human consciousness. We produce inspirational content on multiple platforms: music, film, motivational speaking, poetry, all of that stuff, inspirational events. Prior to launching Motivational More, I was a TV anchor at Fox 45 for 5 years before deciding to take this big jump into entrepreneurship. I would consider myself a person who likes to explore. And when I mean explore, explore within myself. Because I truly believe the highest form of elevation comes from within. And nobody can do that soul work, that internal work for you. You know what I'm saying? Right. And as an artist, as a creative, as a motivational speaker, as a TV personality, all these things, these are great. These are titles. These are things that I love. But I think beyond the titles is the spirit, right? So I feel like in a world that a lot of times we get attached to the titles and these things, but deeper than all of the physical is your spirit. So I like to create art that really empowers and elevates the spirit and touches the mind.
Okay. All right. Where are you originally from?
So I'm originally from Dominica, the nature island of the Caribbean. The population is about 70,000 people. But I grew up in the United States. I was born back home, but I grew up in the United States. So I have like both backgrounds. And I grew up in Northern Virginia. And it's truly a blessing to grow up there because it was so diverse. So I literally grew up with people from all over the world. Like my neighborhood, everybody was first generation American. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about Black people, white people, Latino people, Arabic people. So sometimes you don't realize this because you're just growing up in that environment. But I feel like when you grow up around a multicultural environment, it's so amazing because you learn to appreciate and understand people better. And the one thing that you realize is like, wow, at the end of the day, all of us are just human. You know what I mean? We might have different customs or religions or different skin colors, but at the end of the day, we're all connected. And that truly has had a profound impact on me and just the way I see the world and the way I move in life.
Right. I kind of grew up the same way with my father being military.
Yeah.
Going to different various duty stations in Florida, Hawaii, England, Maine, Keflavik, Iceland, and then Fort Meade.
Wow.
You got to see a lot of the different parts of the world. You got to embrace different cultures.
Exactly.
England, I was too young. Maine, I was still too young. Hawaii, I remember bits and pieces. Florida, I remember. Iceland, I remember. And then now Fort Meade and to the present time. Being from Chicago, everything is different for different various reasons. Now, being in the DMV, everything out here is slow versus Chicago.
Wow.
It'd be just like coming from New York or Jersey coming to the DMV. It's slow. Like everything is slow.
Really?
It's New York and Chicago, they're very fast paced and the people talk fast. I don't talk fast. I don't think I've ever talked fast, but people have told me there be times when I'm engulfed in a conversation that I can't talk fast. But I've looked at clips of the show, and I'm like, I don't think I ever talk fast. I talk like I'm half slower than the average person. My mom, bless her heart, she just turned 76.
Go, Mom.
September 6th. And there's times that Chicago South Side still comes out of her. And I'm like, Ma, can you say that again? Because I didn't quite catch that. You know what I mean? It'd be, especially when she's mad. Yeah, the slang comes out. It'd be like you being mad and talking, your accent's gonna come out.
Of course.
Like I had a friend, and it was always a word that always caught me. I'd be like, "Can you say that again?" And she'd say it, not catching it. And I'd be like, "Say it one more time." She'd be like, "Mark, shut up," because it's interesting to hear different accents from people that are not from America.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I remember my boss like, "Oh, Shar, you have an accent," and I'm like, "I have an accent." And then I've had people tell me that like sometimes they can hear my accent, but I grew up. But if you grow up like in a household, you know what I'm saying?
Right, right. So, okay. My first question, we're gonna go way back.
Okay.
What college did you go to, and why did you choose that college versus any other college in the DMV, DC area, Baltimore area? For example, if you didn't go to either or, why did you choose the college that you went to versus, say, Howard or Morgan?
Well, it was because that 95% of the colleges that I applied to, I was rejected because I was because I wasn't the best student in high school. So Marymount University had communications and they had fashion merchandising. And I said, okay, I'm gonna do broadcasting and I want to study fashion and be like a fashion designer. I was gonna be a broadcaster and a fashion designer. So literally I got in. I didn't go to the school, I didn't tour the school or nothing. I'm like, boom. I got in, they have my major, I'm gonna make it. And it's so crazy because in high school, like I said, I wasn't the best student, but in college, I excelled. And it's really crazy. It's like once you shift your mindset, or once you find something that you're passionate about, or just get out your head and get focused, it's crazy what you can do. You know,
Right.
so it was like a girl in high school that wasn't the best student. In college, I started all these organizations, and I was super involved in dean's list. The journey of life is really crazy. But yeah, that's why I literally was rejected from most of my the colleges. So I was like, Marymount accepted me, I'm going here. Yes.
If you had a choice right now to go to Howard, why would you and why wouldn't you?
Like now?
Right now.
I definitely feel like I would go to Howard because I feel like the HBCU experience is unmatched. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just the environment, just being around so many different types of Black people, like the diversity in Black people is monumental. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Watching the history, the academic experience. I mean, I definitely would go to Howard. My cousin, she was actually valedictorian at Howard at the pharmacy program. So big up to HU. And I've spoken there a few times as well. So I definitely have HU in my pocket.
What
Good
about
stuff.
Morgan?
Morgan, I would definitely go to Morgan as well. I'm a firm believer that HBCU, like people have things to say about HBCU, but I feel like I never went to an HBCU. I've spoken there, this, and that, but I feel like the experience at an HBCU is unmatched, you know? And the thing about life, Mark, no matter where you go in this journey of life, it's up to you to make the most out of it. And you're never going to get 100% of anything. You know what I'm saying? Like it's up to you. So it's like even when for Marymount, I knew that something switched in my brain and I was going to take school seriously. And I told myself I was going to make it the best experience as possible. So it really doesn't matter where you go to school. It's how you create the experience that you want to go. And that's just not just with school, it's the journey of life. Because regardless, there's going to be obstacles. Regardless, there's going to be fun. Regardless, there's going to be L's. Regardless, there's going to be blessings. So it's up to you to say, okay, let's do this and let me create the life I want to live. And the only person who can define that is you.
Exactly.
You're the idol to your happiness. You're the person who's in charge of this. A lot of times we're looking for some type of external force to like validate us to do. No. And that's another thing that I'm so passionate about. I'm truly passionate about self-exploration, going within yourself to really discover what really excites you and what really motivates you.
Okay. Explain soul creativity.
Oh, soul creativity. Well, as a multidisciplinary artist, I truly believe that soul creativity comes from the soul. Meaning, when you're doing something from the soul, Mark, you feel it. You don't have to force it. You don't have to question it. You just feel that energy.
It's genuine.
It's genuine. So for me, I like to produce, when I make my music, I don't focus externally. Like I'm not worried about this sound or this, and that. And that took even time to like get there. But I like to produce things that come from my soul. And I really believe in soul creativity that if you choose to make things or do things or vibe from your soul, you can never go wrong because the soul is always right. Like it really is like it's like an you know what I'm saying? So it's like when you stay true to that, and that takes courage to even stay true to yourself. How can you be wrong when you are vibrating from your highest dimension, your soul, your spirit? So I like to create from stuff like that.
Now, let's back up real quick. You used to be with Fox 45 Baltimore. Before you took your position, before you took your position with Fox 45, if you were given, how do I go there? Okay, let's go here. What did you like and what did you not like about Fox 45?
To be honest, God could have not blessed me at a better environment. You see, the thing about me, like I kind of follow my own trumpet. You know what I'm saying? Like I've always been the type of person who kind of just did them. And people always ask me that till to this day. They're like, I was talking to somebody, and they're like, yo, when you were on the news, it was like your outfits and this, that. It's like you were yourself. Like, usually we don't see that. And did they ever tell you like you have to change yourself? And I said, never, not once. Because I truly believe when you vibe within yourself, regardless if people like it or not, they're going to have to respect that. You know what I'm saying? And after my time period there, I grew tremendously. I started off as a multimedia host. I moved to a traffic reporter. I ended up launching and anchoring Be More Lifestyle Show, a concept that I created. So God put me in the perfect station. The only thing that I would say that I didn't like about Fox 45 is I wish we got paid more money. Anybody who works there knows what I'm talking about. But the environment, amazing. The people, incredible. Like literally, hands down, like the best station I ever worked with. But that's the dualities in life because it's like a lot of times you are not going to get everything. And when it was time to renew my contract, I just knew I had to jump because I just knew deep down that it was time for me to create my content. And if I was to resign a deal, I would be settling. And in life, you get what you're willing to settle for.
And Chardelle is not going to settle for less.
Nope.
Which brings us to your baby.
Yes.
Motivational More.
My baby. I love it. Nothing like it, Mark. Nothing like creating something from your soul. building it brick by brick, moment by moment. Entrepreneurship is not easy. But bigger than entrepreneurship, to be honest, Mark, is Shah, do you really have the courage to do this? And it's crazy because since I created Motivational More, I have grown tremendously through the process because entrepreneurship really does teach you things that you cannot explain in words, to stand up for yourself, to go for your dreams, to work all these hours, you know what I'm saying? Like to put in so much work, but you believe in it. And you believe in something that's bigger than money, accolades, success. You believe in like your legacy, you know? And that's one thing I wanted to do with Motivation More. I said, I need to create my own content my way.
Right.
I'm literally learning and growing every single day. You know, I just released a new single in Agangsa from our record label, because we have our record label, Motivational More Music. And make sure you guys listen to it. It's available on all streaming platforms. We just released the video like a week ago, and it's a dancehall / hip hop track. And it's really to empower people to realize the courage that's within themselves. And at the end of the day, everybody got an Inagangsta, meaning no matter who you are, you could be the president, okay? You can be the Dalai Lama, you can be the homeless man, you can be, it doesn't matter, because the human experience, we're all connected. That's and right. The thing, and you know what I'm saying? Like these titles, they're just titles. We're all connected. And Inner Gangster is to realize like the inner power within yourself, the courage that you carry, that no matter what in this journey of life, you got to keep pushing forward and just keep God first, you know?
God is fabulous.
Oh, absolutely. I love it. So, thank you,
God. What is your mission with Motivational More? Like how far do you want to go? How big do you want to get?
Huge, huge. I'm talking about, I don't want it to just to be me. I want to have other artists as well. I want to create movies, major documentaries. Like, you know, like Tyler Perry, Oprah, how they have their companies and they create content. That's what I want to do with Motivational More. And that's what I will do with Motivational More. I'm telling you, Mark, we're going to look back on this show and you're going to be like, wow. Let me tell you.
Now you said documentaries.
Yes.
Can I be your first one?
Sure.
Because you know I want to do a documentary on the homeless.
Absolutely.
That's Skylyne Foundation is my heart and my soul. That's my baby.
So what about?
That's my love. People don't understand, and people are so selfish that anything in life can happen and you can lose it all. Literally.
Were you ever homeless?
I was. For 6 months. Last year into early this year.
What?
Now, I had a job. I was living in a hotel for 6 months. But when a situation occurred, I had no place to go. I didn't know what I was going to do. But like I said, God is fabulous. God ain't going to put nothing on your plate that you can't handle.
Come on, Mark.
So either I did something wrong and karma had come back to bite me in the ass, or it was to knock me back a step because I was doing too much. And I had to come back to reality. I don't know what it is, because one thing I'll never do is I'll never question God. Because the day I question God is the day I question my faith. Now, granted, a lot of people would honestly say, would honestly ask me, oh, so you don't believe in religion, so are you atheist? No, I don't believe in religion, because until someone tells me the difference between politics, gangs, and religion, I'm always not going to believe in a religion. I believe in a higher power. I don't care if you call him Buddha. I don't care if you call him Allah, Jesus Christ, God, whatever. At the end of the day, and some people will say, I don't believe in a higher power. I believe in science. Well, without a higher power, you don't have science. Sorry to tell you, but all this had to come from something. We are all equal as human. You take your cocoon off, I take my cocoon off. You know what you got? A big bloody ass mess.
Exactly.
That's the only difference between anyone that's human. Other than that, we're all equal because two people started life, Adam, Eve. It wasn't 10 people over here and 10 people over there. It was one man, one woman.
And race was just created.
Exactly.
You know, like, and that's the thing. Going back to your concept, these are the type of partnerships we like at Motivational More. People who believe in a higher sense of consciousness, who believe in oneness, who believe in God, you know, and togetherness. Because, and, you know, even with my mission, because Motivation More, the focus is to elevate human consciousness. Because, and my thing is, we watch sports, okay? We watch this entertainment, we watch reality TV. Why can't we create content that elevates people's minds? Because I used to think that, am I weird for thinking like this? You know? And then the more I aligned myself with my vibration, just being like, this is who I am, I started to, everyone, like, it's kind of scary. 99% of the people that I meet, that I interact with, that interview me, are on the same wavelength. It's not even planned. It's the same wavelength, like we're all one, you know, spirituality. We all, it doesn't matter if we're, you know, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, we're all connected. We're all one, you know? So, wow, there's so many people who think like that.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah. But
it's,
you know what I'm saying? But it's amazing that we're at a point that we can even encourage people to realize that we are all one.
Exactly. Like when I was going through my little health scare last year, I think a lot of that had to do with stress. Now, people are like, "Oh my God, you're how old?" Yes, for those that don't know, Skylyne Mark will be 50 June 13th, 2023. Wow. I'll be 50 next year, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not no young dude. I look young because I don't stress. I look young because I don't dwell on stuff. I look young because, unlike the majority of you men, no offense.
Oh God, Marcus.
I don't know what baby mama drama is. If you got kids, men, women too, because you got some women out here that ain't shit either. But if you have kids, own up to that child, because that child didn't ask to be here. I have a child, and I claim 2 twin daughters, stepdaughters.
Wow.
I wish I could go back in time and do that part of my life differently. Me and that woman reconnected over the summer. And after we talked, she was like, "So do you want to stay in contact, or do you want to keep things how they've been?" And I was like, "I've never wanted to keep things how they've been. It's just kind of gone that route because of life. You get busy, I get busy, numbers change, people move around, it happens." But to this day, when we talk, I could call her right now, or she could call me right now, and I'll be like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?" She tell me how she is. First thing I'm gonna say out my mouth is, "How my babies?" They are 31. They just turned 31 the first weekend of August. My son will be 21 December 1st.
Oh.
When I was with her, I was selfish, but I tried not to be selfish towards them. Meaning, if she had to go to work and it wasn't time for them to go to school, I would take her to work and then I'd take them to school. It wasn't oh well, school's just a couple blocks down the street. We can walk. No, wrong answer. Vice versa. If she was working and they got out of school early, I went and picked up the girls and we killed time until it was time to go pick up mommy. I've always had a sense of closeness to them over the years. The selfish part of me was, at the time, I was just a selfish individual. You know what I'm saying? So unfortunately, we lost contact for a great number of years. And over the last, I'd say, maybe 10 years, we've probably connected 2 or 3 times. And just poof, one thing would lead to another and we'd lose contact again. I'd like to think that we'll do better this time. I don't know how the girls feel about me. She's never said they've ever said anything derogatory or wrong about me. We always liked Mr. Mark. Every time he had to go somewhere, we went. He always took us somewhere. I like to think that for the time that me and this woman were together, I'd like to think that I was a role model for them, a father figure towards them, a male figure that they could respect. I don't know. I looked at life totally different when my son was born, and I had to grow up extremely fast. And I had to grow up extra fast when I took over custody, because if I had any type of selfishness in me, that had to go away, because now I'm taking full custody of this child. So it's not about me no more. It hasn't been, but now it's literally not about me, because my focus has to be the well-being of this child day in and day out. I have to come home because my child is here. That's not my parents' responsibility. It's not daycare's responsibility. It's mine. So that going out 4, 5, 6 days a week, it came to a screeching halt. And I was fine with that, because I had an infant to take care of. Like, I took over, well, not necessarily an infant, but you know what I mean. I took over full custody of my son when he was 1.5. So being that young, it things definitely had to change, and I had to do things differently. I'm trying to maneuver my phone. It just said my phone's getting ready to die, so I gotta charge it. Now I'm having technical difficulties because things don't want to cooperate. We're gonna get it together here in a second, though. I think that's good. So yeah, life is all about choices. So back to my scenario last year, I might not show it, I might not express it, I might not talk about it. No matter how hard you try not to be stressed, things do weigh on you. I literally asked myself day after day, week after week, how much longer am I going to be in this hotel? And a couple days turned into a week. That week turned into a month. Before I knew it, it was the holiday season. I was still feeding the homeless, maybe not at a capacity that I was normally accustomed to. And so much has happened since then. I don't remember if we were doing anything organized or not, other than Thanksgiving and Christmas last year. There were a handful of homeless people within the Towson, Cockeysville, Hunt Valley area. So I'd go to Taco Bell, I'd go to 7-Eleven, I'd go to Royal Farm, I'd go to Chick-fil-A, and I'd get something of, like Taco Bell, you can get a party pack. Chick-fil-A, you can get a party pack. 7-Eleven and Royal Farm, you just get a bunch of knickknacks. And I put some things together and I walked around and I passed them out early in the morning or late at night, because that's the only time you catch them. Being around shops and stores, you're not going to catch them any given time because they're going to be run off. Where I was, I think I was in a pretty good area, figuratively speaking, when it came to homelessness, because you had so much available to them. Like within 10 minutes, you're at a Walmart, you're at a Target, you're at 4 or 5 different fast foods. You're in a shopping center with a grocery store. So you had gas stations. So if they had to do their business somewhere, you had something available. You know what I'm saying? If they had enough change that they've gathered within panhandling, they were able to go get something that they needed: food, drinks,
Yeah.
forbid bad habits, liquor, weed, dope, whatever. I'll tell a homeless person anytime, I'm not going to give you no money, but I'll buy you something to eat. I'll buy you something to drink. Come on. I'll even let you pick it out. I don't care what it is, but I'm not going to give you no money because I'm not going to support whatever habits you have. I got my own bad habits. I can't afford somebody else's. But when you called me and was like, hey, this, that, whatever, the third, blah, 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 do you have 5 minutes? I was going through this. And I think maybe 3 or 4 people actually knew what was going on with me.
Wow.
I don't know if I told you when we were on the phone or not. If I didn't, I almost came close to telling you.
Yeah, you didn't tell me.
Because I felt something within you that I was like, I need to open up to her and tell her, because she cares about me that much. For her to call me out the blue with what I'm going through in a health situation, I can honestly say that's my friend, because only 2 or 3 people did that. You know what I mean? So when my family found out, they were horrified.
Oh my God.
They were like, why didn't you say something? You know what I mean? A handful of other people, why didn't you say something? Because it's not anyone's business but my own. I have to figure this out. I'm not always going to have you. I have to figure this out. I can't just say, hey, this, that, whatever, third, can you help me out? I got to figure out how I can get myself out of this. I didn't get myself put in this situation, but I was put in it for a reason. So I have to figure out how I'm going to get out. So a friend of mine back in January, he called me. It was like, hey, this, that, whatever, the third, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, hey, I'm all ears. I'm all about it. What's up? He says, I can get you out that hotel. I said, when and where? He said, when are you available for a meeting? I said, now. So make a long story short, February 1st, I moved out the hotel and I moved into my current address.
Mm.
and it's been a blessing.
Wow.
God is extremely fabulous in so many ways. And this isn't my it's not my final stop, but it's getting me to the next step in my journey. What is that journey? Oh God, help me out, Chardelle.
What type of the joys in the journey?
You have it in a song.
Self-love is a beautiful journey.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah. It's trials and tribulations are exactly what they are. And you got to embrace them, because heaven forbid they ever happen again. You know how to step a little bit better and a little bit quicker to get out of that rut. You know what I'm saying? So,
wow.
Uh-oh. I knew that was going to happen. So, have you ever had any type of unfortunate scenarios in your experience?
Absolutely. I would say, to be honest, I mean, there's so many. You know what I mean? There's so many. But one of the tribulations I've had, even when it comes to like my media journey, is that the journey that it took, the journey that it's taking, and the sacrifices that you do. I remember in 2012, I left my job and I said, I'm going to be a TV anchor. I was in sales. And for 2 years, I freelanced. I worked at a radio station. I was making about $8 an hour. I was hosting this other show I wasn't getting paid for. This other show I was hosting, I was making like $60 in that episode. I am hustling. I'm like speaking, hosting that stuff, to make ends meet. I'm sending my demo reel all over the country, and nobody was hiring me. I knew I had talent. And some people would reach out to me and they would say, you have to start off, and this was before Baltimore, you need to start off at a small market and go to the middle of nowhere, because that's what most TV anchors do. They start from one of those places. I was applying to those, didn't get anything. Then Fox 45 was looking for a multimedia host / producer. And I was literally lying in my bed. And I said, this is going to be my full-time job. I claimed it, I received it, and it actually happened. But there was also tribulations too, because I remember there was a time period for 2 years to save money. I was driving from Virginia to Baltimore. So that's an average like 3 hours a day.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Average, like that's a good day. You know what I'm saying? So it's just so crazy. I was talking to one of my brothers and he said, behind every successful person, there's a sad story. And I said, I really believe that. But I said, I don't even think that's just was AKA success. I think it's with the human experience. There's always going to be things that test you, and it really it's like through those storms, it builds you. But while you're going through it, you feel like, am I gonna, it's gonna it can take over your mind. But there's something within yourself that you have, that I have, that allows us to keep going, and that's faith. You see, when you tap into your spirituality and your love for God, no matter what you face, even though you can be going through the worst things, there's something within you, and you're gonna have your moments. It's not like oh, I can do it. No, you're gonna have your moments, but there's something that in you that is like, I can keep going. You can't explain it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the power of faith.
That's right.
And I'm so honored that you even shared your testimony to your viewers, and to be this open to even talk about it.
It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because in the last, I would say 5 years, I've gotten extremely private. I've even gotten bad with, like, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm all over social media. I post everything. And I'd say in the last year and a half, at least the last year, I've gotten real bad with posting things. I'll post things late. I'll take this picture of something, that picture of something, or these pictures of an event, and either I'll be late posting them or I just won't post them. Like, I still have yet to post anything from our last Feed the Homeless event. I don't know why I've gotten into this scenario. It just kind of happened.
Well,
It's
you know
like,
what?
it's like I've gotten into a rut, and I don't know how to break out of that rut.
It's the way you look at it. I don't think that's necessarily a rut. I think it's also maybe you're vibrating higher. Not everything needs to be posted.
Right.
So it's like sometimes we think things are like we're not vibing the same way that we used to vibe. So then we start to question ourselves. Oh, something wrong with me. I feel boom, boom, boom. No, you're just elevating because less is more. When you move in higher levels of consciousness, you start to literally vibrate on a different frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not used to that, you start to question. Am I doing something wrong? Do I still have that thing, like my spark? Boom, boom. No. It's a higher level. So you're adjusting and you don't even realize that you're on a higher level because you're used to a different level. But God is so good. God will take you to higher levels and you don't even realize. You don't have to post everything. The most successful people, boom, they're not even posting everything. Mm-hmm. We don't even know who they are. So literally, we don't even know who they are. So when you start to see yourself moving in a more discreet thing, that is a blessing. Because now when it's time to do whatever, you take your time.
Right.
You take your time. Take your time. Nobody can design your life, Mark. This is your life. You That's and right. God. That's the only person for two. Really. So, and nobody knows 100% that, somebody else's soul. Nobody knows what another person might be going through or dealing with this, and that, boom, boom. And all of us are trying to figure this thing out. So the strongest thing to do is go within yourself and allow yourself to be yourself and allow yourself to go through the different places that life has to take you.
Right.
There's a reason why you're posting less. It's because you're elevating higher. I'm telling you.
Gotta get back on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking for, I'm actually looking for your bio. Why do you like motivational speaking?
Because I think inspiration is probably one of the most powerful forms to the human experience. I believe one piece of wisdom, and motivational speaking is not necessarily just being on stage. You just did motivational speaking, sharing your story. It's literally speaking of motivational and inspirational content. And the reason why it's so profound is because one person can hear you and literally change their entire life by your story.
Like,
it's deep. There's no difference between a motivational speaker on a stage and you speaking, pouring in, saying the things that you were saying tonight. There's no difference. It's just a person doing on stage. You're doing it through, a digital platform.
Right. the average person will say 10 million derogatory things when it comes to the subject of mental illness. What the average person will not admit is we all have a form of mental illness.
Oh, absolutely.
Mental illness comes in millions and millions and millions of different type of situations.
Very true.
I think the number one leader of mental illness is depression. It runs in every household. It runs in every walk of life. It runs in every type of background. Anything can trigger any form of mental illness. I have learned to understand different scenarios, different situations of mental illness because of what I do for the homeless. A lot of things as adolescents, as teenagers, young adults, being ignorant, being blinded because we don't know. We don't understand different scenarios. What triggers the mind? What triggers different parts of the brain? I don't know if anyone out there is listening knows this, but the brain is the most powerful organism in our body. Your brain is, yes, you need your heart to survive, but your brain is a powerful organ. It's a powerful muscle. It does so much for the body that people literally do not understand. Mental illness comes in all different forms of walks of life. I work with an individual that suffers from a form of mental illness. I know how to calm him down, figuratively speaking. What the average person would say probably won't calm him down. It might even agitate him more. You know what I'm saying? But dealing with the homeless, learning the different type of people, the different walks of life, the age, the elements that they endure time in and time out throughout the year. Like, we're going to be out in the streets Sunday. I don't know if you've seen the weather forecast. They're talking about 35, 39 degrees, winds 20, 30 miles an hour. So that's going to put the wind chill around, what, 15, 20 degrees?
Wow.
We're going to be out there. Yes, I will have a coat on. I'll have a hat and scarf too, because that's cold. Like, I'm gonna literally feel like I'm in the Windy City. But we're not gonna postpone for what? They still gotta eat. Some of them people don't have a shelter to go to. Some of them people don't have a hotel to go to. Some people don't have an overpass bridge safe that they can go to. So what's the next best thing? You're somewhere on a sidewalk or a street or something. People ask us all the time, do y'all take sleeping bags and blankets? Yep, sure do. We'll take bed sheets if you got them. Something is always better than nothing. Because if you have, even if it's a twin bed sheet, you can wrap yourself like a mummy, figuratively speaking, have your arms out a little bit, so you can breathe, you can move around a little bit, but you wrap that thing around you 2 or 3 times, you pretty much have like a lightweight, maybe slightly heavy jacket on. You know what I mean? Something is always better than nothing. Like, I tell the average person, if you can make a monetary donation of $5, you'd be shocked what $5 can do. $5 can feed a family of 4. Dinner, something to eat, something to drink, and dessert. No, it can't. If I gave $5, if you gave $5, if Marie Starr gave $5, if Letitia Higgs gave $5, if Monty gave $5, that's $25. Now tell me again, $5 can't feed a family of 4. $5 can go a long way, ladies and gentlemen. The holidays are here. Thanksgiving is here. Christmas is around the corner. This Sunday, sorry, Chardelle. This Sunday, Skylyne Foundation's annual Thanks for Giving Coalition, community initiative for the homeless. This Sunday, 12 to 4. I don't have an address, but we'll be around the corner from Charles Plaza. I will have that address tomorrow. Once I talk to this shelter that deals with women, once I have that address and I have the okay through them, I will post it. All the information is on my Facebook. All the information is on my Instagram. Event page is up. You can make monetary donations through Cashapp, PayPal, Venmo. You want to pull up and drop off locations? Do so. You want to volunteer? Do so. It's going to be cold, but these people need it. Help us help them. Chardelle. I don't know what I like saying more, Chardelle or Chardelle.
Whichever.
Name your 3 favorite islands in the Virgin, between your island and the Virgin Islands. What are your 3 favorite islands?
Oh, Barbados, Dominica. Oh, I'm trying to think of. I like St. Thomas too. I like St. Thomas.
I have a friend that's from, if I remember correctly, he was born in St. Croix.
Oh, yes.
And he grew up in St. Thomas.
Yep, that happens a lot.
And he's a DJ in St. Thomas. His name is Hayden J. I don't remember the radio station, but if I'm not mistaken, he still works periodically with this radio station. Like, he wants to come down to St. Thomas and do a show and host a party. And I'm like, I'm with it if the money's right.
Yeah.
Money talks and everything else just fits into place. But if you had to move out of the DMV, what 3 cities in a cold climate would you choose?
A cold climate. Oh my gosh. I would. I don't know about that one, but definitely LA, Miami, and probably like New York. But I'm more of an LA girl than a New York girl. I like New York, but like LA's more my vibe. LA's like, when I go to LA, I just feel like, whew. I love the energy. I love Miami too. I also like Denver. I want to go to Arizona because I like nature and stuff.
No, Chicago.
I want to go to Chicago, but Chicago's
She's like, but not the wintertime.
I can't.
Let's take a trip to Chicago next year. We can do see. I just can't leave it alone. Where am I? Okay. I'd like to go to this summit that's going on in Chicago. Shout out to Shamika for this event that she's taking back home. She's also from Chicago.
Yeah, beautiful spirit. I love her energy.
She said you were presented a reward.
Yep, trailblazer. And I wasn't able to attend because I was at my brother's house, and it was like I think it was like a wedding or something that I was like going to. But I met her at an event and I just loved her spirit. And we actually had a wonderful conversation. Was it last week? And she truly has a gift to speak to your spirit, to speak to your soul.
She really does.
She really does.
I had her on the show a few weeks ago, and I was like, yo, she will be back.
Yes.
Like, not only is she from Chicago, from the South Side, but like her vibe.
I love her.
I mean? Like, when I had her on the show, it was like you on the show the first time. It was like, yo, when can I get her back on the show again? And I wanted to do something with her with this event, but I kind of took a step back and I was like, I don't know, because this is a woman's event and she's not really advertising anything for men. So let me take a step back, and after the event, I can schedule something with her and we can discuss something in the future. But I definitely like to work with her.
Absolutely.
With one of her events. Her vibe is amazing. Her work is amazing. Like, if things could have worked out with this event, it would have been amazing, because I've never been able to feed the homeless in Chicago in the wintertime. And as much as I don't like the winter, everyone in the DMV is like, yeah, he likes the cold. No, the hell I don't. But I think it's funny when it's like 40, 50 degrees and everyone's like, oh my God, it's so cold outside. And I'm like, y'all have no idea what cold is.
How cold does it get in Chicago? Does it get like negative, bro?
So our winters now, today, is what the DMV's winters used to be 30 years ago.
Oh, okay. Global warming, yeah.
So, right. So I'm going to say 8-10 years ago, when the DMV got slammed twice in a row by nor'easters, by blizzards, that winter, the DMV actually accumulated more snow than Chicago. There was another winter a couple years after that. The average temperature was actually colder in the DMV than it was in Chicago.
Wow.
And I talked about everyone. I was like, see, you said you could never do a Chicago winter. You just experienced it. And you're doing perfectly fine. You came out on top. Proud of you. What people fail to realize, they're like, oh, Chicago, it's so cold. Okay, we do have a summertime. No, you don't. Okay. So you mean to tell me New York doesn't have a summertime? New York, it doesn't have a nickname, Baked Apple, for shits and giggles. What people fail to realize with the winter time between the Midwest and the East Coast, say from North Carolina north, North Carolina north, if you have a nor'easter, more likely than anything else, that's where you get abundance of your snow. You don't get abundance of snow from storms coming from the Midwest or from the north. More or less, you get them within blizzards, nor'easters coming up the coast. Not to say that we can't get a significant snowfall from something coming from the Midwest. I'm not saying that. The difference is the Midwest is more likely to get accumulating snow than the East Coast.
Wow.
I don't know why. I don't know how. You can throw factions in there. Well, the Midwest gets a lot of snow because there's no salt in the air. You got salt in the air on the East Coast. You can't really say that. Oh, well, we get more snow than y'all because there's nothing out there to give y'all power, your storm's power of energy. Yes, we do. It's called lake effect. And if you ain't heard, look at what's going on in Buffalo right now.
Wow.
They're calling for 3 to 6 feet of snow by Sunday or Monday.
My goodness.
Like they showed pictures. I think I was looking at WJZ. Is either WJZ or Fox, because pretty much they're the only ones I really look at. Very rarely do I do I watch Channel 2. Very rarely do I watch WBAL. I've seen him. I've watched him over the years on occasion. He's not on Fox. He's not on WJZ. But I still got to give a shout out. Happy retirement to Stan Stovall. 50 years. Wow. Like, I've been a fan of WJZ. I'm gonna tell you who my first person I liked to watch when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, and that was Denise Cope and Al Sanders. May he rest in peace. And then I started watching DC News, and it was Jim Vance, rest in peace, and his co-anchor, who I don't remember her name, but if I'm not mistaken, I think she just recently passed away. I became a fan, I guess you could say, of WJZ through Yakinda McGahee. Met her in person. We chopped it up, had good conversation. Through life, we lost contact of each other. It wasn't long after that she left WJZ, and I believe she went to BET, and from there I don't know where she went. And then I started really getting in tune with the news because I was getting older. Then I was at a high school, and through the years it was still Denise Cope, and then it's I don't even remember his name, and I watched them all the time. And then I started watching Patrice Harris and Gigi Barnett, and then it was Maureen Ume down in DC. She's from Chicago. And then Rochelle Ritchie came to WJZ, and she's from Chicago. And then she went to the state's attorney's office. Then I think she briefly went to New York, and I think she's in Atlanta. Christy Oleto was in Baltimore briefly. Now she's in Philly. I was actually at a family friend's house, and they were actually watching the news. And you came on a couple minutes after I sat down, and I was like, I looked at Pops, and I said, "Who is she? Is she new?" He said, "Yeah, she been on here for a couple weeks." And that's when I became a fan of you. And through the years, recently it's Theo Harris and Rio Creighton. And I don't remember which one, but one of them, I think it's Rio, is also from Chicago. And I'm like, no, there's a lot of Chicago anchors coming through the DMV. So, like I've always liked and respected what all of you have done. I never thought I would be where I'm at doing this. little over 4 years ago, who I got two mentors. Well, I got three mentors. A guy by the name of Tim Rogers, who's big time in photography. He's actually the reason why I got into photography. I wasn't in it long, but I loved it. I fell hard in love with photography because it's art.
Absolutely.
I love art. I can't get enough of art. And it's crazy. Everywhere you look, there's a form of art. Nature is a form of art. And I love nature. I love nature. I love animals. I love different various things. I have good fascinations. I have bad fascinations. Water. Water is a powerful tool in life. Without water, you can't do nothing. Water creates life. Water takes life. It's a good and bad with water. Fire. Fire is an explosive form of nature. Fire destroys life to create life. That's powerful. Derek Chase. Derek Chase is my mentor because he taught me different things on entrepreneurship, on promotions, event coordinating. I literally think I owe it to him for the reason of me starting Skylyne Foundation.
Wow.
If I ever had to thank anyone, I would have to say I thank Derek Chase for not literally pointing me in this direction, but you know when you get that calling,
you just know,
you get that grab,
feel it,
and you're like, "Ooh, I gotta stop, and I gotta get my thoughts together." That happened to me. I just left a meeting, and for the soul of me, I can't even remember who this meeting was with, but it was downtown at the Inner Harbor, and I was coming through McKeldin Square. At the time, it was the water fountains. As we all know now, it's the park. And I got that grab. And I was like, okay, here we go. And I turned around and I went left to right. And I looked at the skyline. And I came over and looked at the Inner Harbor and the off in the distance, the water area. And I looked over to Fed Hill. And I kind of, I guess, glanced or whatever. But I immediately got on my phone and I called my business partner, who's my number one photographer. And I say, yo, I got a plan. He said, all right. I said, are you down? He said, I'm down like the underground. What's on your mind? I said, yo, I want to start feeding the homeless. And this January, it'll be 7 years.
Amazing.
7 years, yo.
Oh.
7 years.
Isn't it crazy?
I've seen so much. I have heard so much. The transformation of homelessness, you name it, I've seen it. I'm not going to put personal things out there because I don't want to undermine anyone. I don't want to disrespect anyone. I don't want, heaven forbid, anyone to take anything out of perspective. But you name it, I've seen it. But I'm not going to deny you a meal. If you have to ask me more than once, is this pork? Get out my line. Because if you've known me and you've seen me time and time and time again, you know me. I don't eat pork, so I don't buy pork. If I don't buy pork, I'm not cooking pork. If I'm not buying and cooking pork, I'm not serving pork. If I don't eat it, you're not eating it. Plain and simple. So I cook a lot of different various things. Whatever I feel like cooking is pretty much what I cook. For the holidays, we try to be traditional with the turkey and the chicken and the collard greens and sweet potatoes and baked beans, baked mac and cheese, and cranberry sauce and different various other dishes. But again, it all comes in with what we get donated.
Yeah.
I've never had a situation like last year and this year where here it is Friday night. I still don't know what me and my business partner are cooking other than turkey and baked beans, and I think dressing. I prefer a cornbread stuffing, but at the end of the day, your donations are exactly what you're getting. So you don't always get what you want. So just be appreciative what it is that you do get. And we're always appreciative. People keep asking when y'all going to start taking clothes. After Christmas, so tune in and ask a question, or I'll call you back later. Right now, yes, we are doing our annual coat drive and blanket drive. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you got gloves, mittens, scarves, hats, boots, yes, we're taking those too. It's wintertime. I saw a post the other day, and I'll say it here. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Winter, and I'm bringing the cold.
Oh.
Like, I was like, are you serious? You just took a Jay-Z thing and turned it into a wintertime thing. And I don't think I said it right. But at the same time, it's like, damn, we were doing pretty good with fall.
Yeah.
And winter just came in and was like, get the hell out of here.
Freeze.
Like, and this is the second time it got real cold real quick. Now, the first time, we were juggling around the 40, 45 degree mark. Now we're juggling with the 30, 35 degree mark. And I'm like, okay, this is the second time it's gotten this cold before Thanksgiving. That's not normal in the DMV. The first time, it wasn't even Halloween yet. And I was like, okay, something's really got to give. And then I started really paying attention to Chicago. Because if you want to know what your weather's going to be, storm-wise, in the summertime, watch the weather that's coming out of the Midwest between Milwaukee and St. Louis. If there's anything coming due east, especially between St. Louis and Milwaukee, but anything coming out of Chicago, coming due east, there's a very good chance we're gonna get it. It all depends on how forceful the mountains are gonna be. The mountains are our friend, especially in the wintertime with any type of winter precipitation that's coming from the Midwest. But the wintertime, oh God, where was I going? I don't know. I got ahead of myself too fast. That's a sign of old age. And look, I can say that I'm almost 50. Half a century.
Oh God.
Nah, but like the wintertime, that's where I was going. So I started paying attention to Chicago's weather, because if you want an idea of what your temperatures are going to be, look at what it's doing in the Midwest, because whatever's in the Midwest is coming this way. So before Halloween, it had snowed, if not once, twice in Chicago.
Wow.
And I was like, I called my mom. I was like, Mommy. She was like, I know why you're calling. I talked to your uncle. I said, is that? And she cut me off. She was like, yes, that's too early for Chicago. Since then, it has snowed, if not 5-6 times already in Chicago. Not saying it's stuck, not saying they had any type of accumulation.
But it's just, yeah.
But it's just a fact. It has snowed 5 or 6 times, and it's not even Thanksgiving. So, and all this goes back to what? COVID. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's your science class for 30 seconds. You know what COVID did worldwide? It cleaned up the earth of almost every ounce of pollution. You had no planes flying, trains moving, cars moving. You had no boats, no ships, no nothing. Nothing was moving globally. So your pollution, for the most part, disappeared. Now you look at everything going on weather-wise around the earth. Tsunamis, they're still hit and miss, but your hurricanes are more powerful. Tornado Alley is starting to shift east. I haven't really noticed anything yet as far as wintertime, but your winter storms and your summertime storms, they're even getting stronger and powerful. Mother Nature's upset. And I don't know if there's anything we can do. And then I just heard on the news yesterday or today that there's actually, we're not going to call them poor countries, but there's countries that, in layman's terms, aren't rich, that have filed suits against countries, say like Europe, the United States, and so forth, for the after effects of global warming. Something that has to do with all the pollution levels. I don't know what's going to happen, but in about 15, 20 years, we're in trouble. And time is ticking.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Look at all the projections that they're predicting in 15, 20 years with the water levels. And everyone's like, oh, well, 2-3 inches of a sea level rise, that's nothing. That's 2-3 inches at low tide, not high tide. So that 2-3 inches at low tide can be easy 10-20 feet at high tide. Right or wrong?
True.
So, like when they say a couple miles inland, anywhere around water, in 15-20 years is going to be underwater, you got to start thinking about the future. And there's a restaurant, a very popular restaurant, that's on that island, right as you cross over the Bay Bridge, that has since closed. It has since closed. I don't know if they relocated or what, but it's no longer there. You might have 5-10 years before you really got to worry about it. But the sea levels are rising and the storms aren't going to go anywhere. So is it really worth taking a gamble of every time there's a storm, heaven forbid, any type of tropical system, that your restaurant gets flooded every single time? Is it really worth it, or is it more of a profitable, at the same time you're taking a loss for shutting down, and possibly either you're retiring and you're closing down the business, or you're closing down the business because you've moved to a different location? Me personally, I get it. And I understand, you want to be around the water. You want to be where people love this, that, whatever, and the third. But at the same time, financially, is it worth it? If your food and your service is that good, people are going to follow you wherever you go. Figuratively speaking, if you stay in the same general area, but in a safer, what's that word? In a better sea level climate. You know what I mean? So it's crazy.
Life is crazy, I'm telling you.
So,
yeah.
Chardelle, is there anything you would like to discuss?
Honestly, I feel like we've hit so many topics. And once again, my latest single, In a Gangsta, is available on all streaming platforms from my debut album, Inward Awakening. And I just appreciate you inviting me on your platform, and we can have just like a real and honest conversation. And I appreciate what you do, with the homeless, and your radical honesty, because you're one honest man.
Honesty is the key to life.
And I appreciate the vibe, and thank you so much for inviting me to be here.
I love it when you're on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate the energy, and thank you so much. I appreciate it.
What's the future hold for you?
The future, wow. The future just continue to build motivational more, continue to build myself, and literally the joys in the journey, creating inspirational content on multiple platforms. So music, as I mentioned, film, documentaries. I want to create my own fashion line. And I also want to get into real estate. So we'll see. I'm just a woman who really likes to create things. I want to have like my own hotels. So that was literally a vision I keep having. And when I have visions, they always end up happening. So I just follow my heart and just take life one day at a time. And be married one day.
For your hotels.
Huh? What would be the name?
Huh?
What would be the name?
No. Not names. I got good management staff to run your hotels.
Okay. Now I just need the capital to do it. I just have the vision.
Hey, where there's a will, there's a way.
I'm telling you, with anything, I've realized that it's like any single goal I put my mind to, I've been able to accomplish it. It might take years or this and that. And it's never easy. But that's one thing I've realized. It's like self against self. Like the only person who can stop you from succeeding is yourself. It's
That's
literally do it, So
when you
we'll
going on tour?
hopefully next year, God willing. Let's put the energy into the universe.
January is right around the corner.
No. This year flew by. Last year it seems like it was years, Mark. This year flew by. But it's like the thing about it is like for me, one day is like, I know this sounds crazy, but one day is like 20 years. Meaning like when I go within myself, like I'm able to unlock things within myself because you know what I'm saying? So it's like you realize like time is really just the expansion of self-knowledge. So something that you think that can be so hard, it can take you 50 years, can take you like 5 minutes when you unlock something in your mind. It's hard for me. So every day is a blessing. Every day is a gift.
I want to be a part of your team when you take your tour.
Okay.
I can be your media.
Okay.
I'm not playing. You know I'm serious.
No, I know. And we're slowly building a team at Motivational More. Like I'm just so thankful how Inner Gangster came out. And that took a team. You know what I'm saying? Like to build anything of value, it takes a team. And I'm realizing like I can't do it all by myself.
Blood, sweat, and tears all day.
Blood, sweat, and tears. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Couple last questions. How far did you go into fashion modeling?
I would say when at Marymount, I was going to minor in fashion merchandising. That's why I went to school for communications and fashion merchandising. Then when I looked at the syllabus, like how much math you have to take, I was like, I'm not doing this. And then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on communications. But I did a lot of stuff in the fashion industry. I worked at Barbizon. I modeled for, different various brands and stuff, like on the promotional end of aspects. But I remember this is what happened. Like now I'm falling in love with modeling, but I will never forget this. I was at an event and I had to go, like, I had so much stuff that day. I was on camera, I was at a show, and I was like, okay, what do I like better? Would I rather host the show or model in the show? Because you see, art, there's so many different things. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, literally, Sha, I'd rather model. I'd rather host the show. So from that moment, I was like, I'm going to focus my energy on broadcasting instead of modeling.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's like that modeling thing is back because music is so much into fashion,
Right.
So it's like the two worlds are colliding. And then I'm just like, I just love clothes. Like you even think like I'm looking at your aesthetic because it's like clothes is like a reflection of so much. But it's like even if I was to like style you, I know how I would want to style you. Because even the way you're styled is like cool, casual, but also like king energy. This is a whole swag. People don't understand like clothes is energy. So it's like if you put on something that you feel better in, your whole day is different than you're wearing something that you feel, like people don't understand the power of a garment. And the thing about style is like everybody has their own personal style, what makes them feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I like study fashion. Like I go to the mall just to look at the clothes, like to look at the ads. I look at people and what they're wearing, and I see how like they try. You know what I'm saying? Like I would love to do a photo shoot for you.
Come on, let's do it.
I would direct it. I would style it. Like, we would put something together because can tell just by how people are, like what works with them, their energy, and to match the clothes with it. Because
Let's do it.
put the
Let's do
clothes
it.
together, it takes your life. I'm serious.
I'm ready. Come on.
I could be going through the worst thing. I put on some clothes. You can't tell me anything. I'm like, okay, I can do this.
Right.
Because people understand like the power, because everything is energy. What you put on, you eat, what you listen to, who you hang out with, everything is a vibration. Everything is a frequency. That's the thing about creation. Everything is like creativity. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, think of people on the show. You have all different types of people on the show, but every interview is different because every person is different. Then you start to realize, wow, there's patterns of people. But even in the patterns of people, everybody's still different.
Mm-hmm.
You can take a group of people all together that are into the same things, but guess what? They're still different.
Right.
You know? So it's like, even with fashion, you're allowed to express yourself. And I don't believe fashion has no rules. I feel like it's like what you like, what works for you, what works for your swag, what works for your energy, you know?
Explain Miss Caribbean.
Okay. So Miss Caribbean Metro USA was a beauty pageant that I entered. I had no pageant experience at all. I was literally at DC Caribbean Carnival, and I saw the queen at the time, literally on, like, she was waving. You know, when you're like at the carnival and there's like the queen, she was like our queen, right? And I saw, this is what happens to me. This is my entire life. I see something, then I want to do it. That's how I live. Like, literally, I'll see something, I'll be like I never planned to get into music. I was at a show, and I just saw the artist perform, and I was like, I want to do this. That's how I am. Like, even to MC, I saw somebody MC, and I'm like, I feel it in my spirit, then I do it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I saw her, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And then somebody who was with me at the time was like, Char, you can't do that. That's not your thing. And then for 1 second, I was like, maybe they're right. And then something inside me, which I call my highest self, was like, no, you can do that. And when I competed, I took it seriously because pageantry is a huge thing. And I ended up, and I did a poem. So you see how everything is connected in your journey. So that shows my speech, that shows my, you know, and it gave me an opportunity to represent the Caribbean American community. So at different events and, you know, through community outreach. And it was a wonderful opportunity because that was like my first like major, I was 21. It was my first like major entertainment role. And then the rest was history.
All right. What are your future goals?
To grow motivational more.
Besides that. Like, I mean.
Okay, I'll break it down.
Of course you want to do that, and like you kind of went in depth as to how far you want to take that. But like outside of motivational more, what you haven't done that you've had a thought of, or once upon a time you would have liked to travel that journey, travel that avenue, take on this experience.
I think I talked about it a little bit, just like, okay, on the professional side, definitely own the hotels. That's just something that I want to do. And then the fashion line. But on the on the spiritual side, just continue to grow internally and also to give back. You know, the great thing about Motivational More is like the content is all about inspiration. So I love the fact that I'm creating content that people are feeling inspired. You know what I'm saying? Because there's different ways to serve. People think to serve, you have to just have a, you know, be a teacher or to have a nonprofit, da, da, da. These are all branches from service. Your service can be, you know, just being a good person. My service is through art, right? But definitely my future aspirations to, God willing, to have a family, to get married, to travel. That's very important to me, to travel, you know, and meet people from all over the world. And to be honest, like, just to continue to live, I think that's very important, and to take life one day at a time. Because I'm literally learning something new every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And when you live like that, it's like every day is an adventure. And the adventure is, to me, is not even externals within myself, like within my mind. Because I can go so many places within my mind. Because it's like I've learned to like go within myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't explain it, but it's like I've learned to do that. So it's like when you go within yourself, that's where the journey begins. Because first you have to believe it within yourself and then take the action steps to where you want to go.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
One day at a time. And like you said, one day feels like more.
No, I don't, for real, I think it's one moment. Because one day, you know how many things you can do in one day? You know how many one moment at a time. Because I'm telling you, I'm not even the same person I was a week ago. Because I've been to so many places in my mind. And this is the crazy thing. That's what creativity does. Because the thing about creativity, what you're doing, you're creating something that's not there. And then you're bringing it to the physical world, regardless of whatever that thing is. You know, it could be with music, it could be through writing something, it could be through an experience, because an experience is creativity. Something from this conversation might spark something in you, Mark. And then from this conversation that wasn't there before, you're able to say, okay, let me try that. Let me implement that. Like
right.
even with you see, when I talked about fashion with you, it sparked something in you. I could feel the energy. You know what I'm saying? I can feel, I'm telling you, it's like you lit up. So naturally, deep down inside, you already, I mean, it shows already, but you already like fashion. But to explore your love for fashion is going to create a different mark. You know what I'm saying? So it's like even me, like I finished Inner Gangster, right? Now I'm already looking like, okay, because I'm going to do a performance. Okay, I got to make the performance better than the video. My next video is boom, boom. But the only way you learn is through making things. So I like to make. And when you're constantly creating, you elevate like 20 years because you're like, okay, you know what I'm saying? You're making something you like. So your next time you're going to get better. You're going to get better. You're going to get better. So it's like, I think the highest form of learning is like when you love the process and you keep doing the thing and you keep creating. That's how you grow in life. And to the point, like even the hotel things, it's like this, how my mind thinks, I'm like, okay, if I can make music videos and I had no idea how to make this, why can't I make hotels? And then probably when I create hotels, I'm gonna create something else. Think about it. Did you ever think you were gonna have your own show? You might have not thought that. Exactly.
No.
It's like we can literally be whoever we want.
Like
it's crazy.
Eventually, I want to have my own broadcast.
Exactly.
Like I want to do. I want people to give the daily news, to give the sports reports, to give the weather, the traffic. Like I want to do all that. And 4 years ago, I never wanted to do this.
Exactly.
But after COVID, I was eager to get back into it. I wanted to get back into it.
Because it's like, Mark, what's different between you and the CNN? Everybody had to start somewhere. Everything. Right. So you're already a media personality. You already have your own show. It's just gonna keep growing when you keep laying down the foundations. And the only person who knows this design is like you and God. Do you get what I'm saying? But you have to like be kind of like radical when it comes to your dreams because you're the person doing it. Because if not, what happens is we're living in somebody else's dream.
Exactly.
That's why I'm a firm believer on what do you want? Not what the world's, not this. What does your friends tell you, your mom? What do you want to do with your life? Mm-hmm. And just take it step by step. Right?
That's all you can do.
People who might be watching like, man, I want to be a media personality like Mark. But put the energy out there. They're not willing to do anything. You see, there's different types of people in this world. There's people who are like, the creators, and then there's people who are like watching the creators.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what type of person do you want to be? But either way, it's not like one is better. That's the thing. See, a lot of times entrepreneurs or people reach success, they think, oh, I'm better. You're not better, because the people who have to watch, they're still doing their job. The people who are creating still doing the job. And guess what? The people who are watching and creating still got issues.
Yeah.
Have all the money in the world, you still have issues, okay? I know you've met people who are homeless and are probably some of the most happiest people you ever met.
Wow. We were talking about this yesterday at work. I was, I was talking to this woman and this and that and everything else. And next thing you know, her and her family getting out of this van, family of 4, and they pulled signs out, homeless signs. And I was like, that one thing shocked you? Think about how many people, how many families are doing that every day. Because after COVID, if you owned your car, like if your car was paid off, and due to losing your job and your house, what did you have to fall back on? Your vehicle. That became your home. Like when I was homeless living in the hotel, there were 2 or 3 cars in the parking lot, in our parking lot of the hotel, that people were literally sleeping in. Either because they couldn't afford the hotel, or they were just like, I'm in the hotel parking lot because it's safe, it's lit. And although I'm living in my car, I don't want to spend that extra bread because I'm trying to save up money so eventually I can get a place to live. It's crazy. Like years ago, I had a friend. She was huge in the fashion modeling industry. I mean, she wasn't like Tyra Banks and Iman, nothing like that, but she was a big name in the DMV. And when she was going to college, she was homeless.
Wow.
And I was like, are you serious? And I was like, why didn't you ever say anything? And she was like, why? Pride. Pride is very.
That's a whole. You could do a whole show on that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Like, our culture doesn't talk about enough. Like, as human beings, one of the things, and we're all guilty of this, the human experience, everybody knows we go through things, is that, but we don't really talk about pride, like what pride can do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that thing is real, Mark.
It really is.
Like, I've been in situations, even in my life, that I'm like, oh my God, I'm scared to ask for money if I'm struggling or something. You know what I'm saying? And then I had to, like, Char, you have to get over that. Because the same way that you're willing to help people, allow people to help you. And that's also a process for me, because I'm very like an independent person. Like, I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just kind of grew up in an environment, like whatever I wanted, I had to go get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, held my hand. You know what I mean? So it's like pride thing, but at the same time, you realize like you need help. You can't make it in this world alone. It's impossible.
It's okay to not be okay.
There you go.
Yep. Miss Chardelle.
Oh, thank you so much, Mark, for inviting me.
I love you.
I'm thinking about the, I love you too, Mark. And I'm thinking about the shoot. Like, I'm looking at your aesthetic. I'm like, yo, I know I will put you like, you know what? Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like a nice hoodie joint with like, I could see the jeans. Like, I see the vision. And I would shoot you like at like a nice hotel. So you're giving like that 2 worlds, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like slick, but still cool, but still professional. Like I
Right.
can see, you know what I'm saying? Like I see it.
That's the only thing I don't like about the beard.
I love it.
Once it gets a little bit longer, I can do my 2 braids. But with having it out, it's like, why wear a tie? You're not gonna see it. Like I'm getting ready to step out to go to a birthday party for DJ Wildchild DNA. I'm not putting a tie on. For what? You're not gonna see it.
But I feel like your vibe, I mean, yeah, you wore a tie, but I feel like your vibe, you don't need a tie. Like your aesthetic is like, I see it. And even with like the fashion line I'm trying to create, it's like, especially men like you have this swag. Swag is more important than the actual clothes. You build around the swag. So you don't need the, like, even what you're wearing right now, this is a nice fit. It has Chicago, it's boom, you put it with some nice jeans, you know what I'm saying? Like some nice shoes, boom, boom. Like if you want to get a little bit more dressier, you would wear like, you know, same type of like sweater, you know what I'm saying? And then you can like a simple chain, you know what I'm saying? Like clean, cool, clean, high class. You know, you already have that swag. So you would, and how you out is you bring it out in the environment. So like you would take the pictures in like a nice hotel. So even what you're wearing right now, you put it on camera, take a pictures of a nice hotel. It's a whole vibe, and that's the best art. Not one dimensional. It's taking different things and putting it together, and then creating something.
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
Because I'm ready to rock.
You act? Because I'm gonna need people for my music videos because I'm gonna shoot them like films.
Come on, let's do it.
Okay.
I'm ready and willing.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's our time. My producer's getting on me, talking about it's time to go. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up one time for the Chardelle Moore.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you. I appreciate
I love you, Queen, and I look forward to hearing from you and working with you and doing big things in the future.
I already know what's gonna happen. I'm looking at, see, now you got my creativity on a whole different dimension. I'm like, now went from okay, the photo shoot, and then I'm like, no, now Mark can be a character for one of my films. That's how. Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate you, King.
Chardelle Moore, motivational Moore. Go check out the video. In a Gangsta.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is Skylyne Radio Talk Show on behalf of Be Exposed Radio and Be Exposed Media. Good night, everybody. We are out.
Bless you.
Peace and blessings.